What we're actually talking about is what inspires us
Mm-hmm.
about movies,
Mm-hmm.
particularly The Matrix.
Yeah.
That's what we're talking about. Now, I've got a question to ask you. Are we talking about all four Matrix movies?
All three
Because
Matrix?
well, there was a fourth one that came
All
out.
three Matrix movies?
Yeah. Okay. Good. Because I haven't seen the fourth one. So
Oh,
I was
really?
gonna make a on podcast confession that I haven't seen that. So I was hoping that we weren't talking about that one because
I actually went and saw it with my mom.
oh, you did?
Yeah.
Oh.
Actually, my family, I think.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So I don't know anything about what that fourth movie's actually about.
I don't
so-
remember enough to spoil it for
Yeah.
you.
Okay. All right. That's fine. Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Just as long as we're not talking about it, because it's like I'm not ready to talk about that one.
That's fair.
Okay. So the Matrix, the trio.
I would be down to just talk about the first if you want.
Okay, just the first.
Just because they're so different in my mind.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. But
Yeah.
my mom did make a good suggestion to me the other day that maybe we should just do a recap of all the movies we talk about, like a plot recap,
Oh.
even if it's like a more popular movie,
Yeah.
just to give people like a little bit of context. And
That's
it's like-
true, because not everybody knows what the movie is that we're talking about.
Yeah,
What happened.
And most people have seen it, but at the same time, like they haven't seen it maybe for 10 years or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
So it's like they might forget some like the little things. But
That's a good point.
do you remember what happens in The Matrix? I do because I watched it last night.
They suck the battery juice out of little babies, and the robots rule the world,
Yep.
and the real people are all inside of the Matrix dream world.
Yeah.
And one dude likes it that way, and he wants to go back. And the other dude
Betrays everyone.
The other dude is just trying to figure out his place in the Matrix. And apparently,
I like your 1 minute summaries.
apparently he's the Jesus man.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, there's one guy, main character, Neo. He's a little hacker dude, little dirty hacker man,
yeah,
and gets contacted by the Holy Spirit, Morpheus,
that's right.
and gets pulled out of the Matrix, finds out, yeah, everything's kind of fake, built an illusion built by the machines,
That's right.
AI, keywords here,
Yeah,
and then, he has to decide whether he's the one or not to save the rest of people from this, artificial reality.
yeah. And if he is the one, that means he can save the world and his girlfriend at the same time.
In the second one.
Yeah. In the first one, doesn't she save him?
Kind
She
of.
saves him with a kiss.
Yeah.
She was like,
Power of love.
"I'll make out with you, and you'll come back to life." That's symbolic of the something.
Don't say it. Don't say it.
Yeah, that's
I'm
probably blasphemy.
No, yeah. Yeah, isn't there a song about a sloppy kiss?
That's right. There is actually. That's that. I can't actually. What is it?
The
I
one
can't-
song everyone hates.
I
Yeah.
can't even remember what song. The Hurricane song.
Yeah,
The
something.
Hurricane song. Yeah, there's a sloppy kiss in that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
But yeah. Anyway, back to the Matrix.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. There's a plot summary.
yeah, I think
Yeah.
that's good enough.
Yeah. All right. I hope that works
Yeah.
for Paul's mom.
So I have about
You got a list, and you're checking it twice.
I don't know if you can see this,
Look at, dude.
but that many notes
He's got. Yeah, this guy's got notes. What?
for the first. Yeah. Because I wasn't gonna take any notes, but I had about 1,000 thoughts come up in my head as I was
Dang,
watching it.
1,000.
Yeah,
Man.
at least.
Yeah.
And so I wrote 15 of them down.
Okay. That's good. That's good. Prioritizing there.
Yeah.
Okay.
So do you want to? How do you want to like break those down? What's a good way to do that?
I think what we should do here is I should go first.
Okay.
Or else, with all of your thoughts, I may not get a chance.
Sure.
I'm gonna just lay out one thought for you right now.
One thought or
Just
neo
one.
thought?
Just a neo thought. The one that we can talk about, and
Yeah.
then I'll let you have the floor after that.
Some of mine are questions too. So they're
Okay.
interactive.
Mine is a question.
Okay. Cool.
Here's my thought. Did people ever, and I don't know, maybe, I'm sure that maybe people thought this at some point in history. I'm sure the Greeks thought of this. Did people ever think that the world may not be the true reality before the Matrix? Do you think that
Yeah.
do you think that people ever thought that? Yeah.
That was kind of the Gnostic teaching.
The Gnostic teaching, yeah. Like,
that like
we're all asleep or something.
Well, basically that the physical world was an illusion, like bound around that like was clouded your vision from the spiritual world.
Hmm.
And so the spiritual world was the real thing, and the physical world
Hmm.
was like the whatever. So they didn't believe in like, I don't know. Like, yeah, that basically eating and drinking is an illusion, all this kind of stuff. And it's like the real world lies beyond, but we're like our vision is clouded by this physical world.
Mm-hmm.
And so, which is kind of opposite to the incarnation, because it's like Jesus came into the physical world to interact with it, to heal people, to do all this stuff in the actual world. So there's obviously a cooperation there that's needed.
Yeah.
But that's my only knowledge of that.
Yeah, because it makes me wonder how many people watch The Matrix. And I remember thinking this when you can't help but watch The Matrix, and then afterwards the like obvious conclusive thought is, am I living in the real world? You know? And it takes me back actually to Inception, where the wife is like, we're not in the real world. We have to jump off this building to wake up, and like go back to our children. And it's like, no, you are in the real world. And it's like, I wonder how many people have watched that movie and then like been taken on a serious mind trip of, I don't know if I'm in the real world anymore. Like I'm questioning it now,
Yeah.
I don't know. It's interesting.
Yeah. If you were already like a little bit destabilized or something, and then you saw that.
Yeah.
It would definitely. I mean, that movie definitely shaped a culture, like
Yeah.
or a generation.
Yeah. With leather and green lights, questioning their existence and
whatever.
Sunglasses.
Yeah, but sunglasses that don't have the earpiece or like the band.
Oh yeah.
Supported glasses or whatever.
Oh yeah.
I don't think I ever saw anyone wearing this.
Anyway, that was my one question.
Yeah.
Just my big existential question. Getting out of the way.
It's a good one, yeah.
Just throwing it out there for people.
Yeah, I would encourage people, if they watch it, go back and try to put yourself in like a 2000s mindset. It's so weird.
If you were born back then.
Well, no, like just like think about like how you thought when you first saw The Matrix. So it's like, dude, it was such a different world back then.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, as soon as I watched it, because I had a lot of nostalgia, that was like the first R-rated movie my dad let me watch.
Oh yeah.
And with some fast
It's not even that bad. I don't know.
Yeah, it's
the first one.
Yeah, it's just mostly cussing.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was like the first one I was allowed to watch, I think. It was just like, we had the DVD, or I think it was a VHS actually. That had like, this holographic cover, and there's like bullets all over like the floor of the cover, and he was holding machine guns, and it's like super cool. But yeah, I was just kind of thinking about like just the world at that time, it's like, I don't even think like 9/11 had happened. It was like such a weird.
Did it come out in the year 2000 or was it in 1999?
It was 1999.
Because I was pretty sure it came out before the year 2000, because it felt like it was going along with the Y2K, where people were like, the world's all going to end in year 2000, or like the machines are going to take over or something. And
yeah.
So yeah, I felt like it was an appropriate movie to have right in the, just like how they came out with 2012 before 2012.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, some weird world event, ending date is coming up, let's make a movie about it.
Yeah,
it'll like be a big thing that people will want to go watch.
Yeah, and it was kind of like on the tail end of like church culture, like super strong like evangelical church culture. So it's like WWJD bracelets forever.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Everywhere,
Forgot about those.
So it's like just trying to put yourself back in time when you watch that movie. Like, because obviously you watch it now and you're like, oh, it's talking about social media and like how everything's a lie on the internet and stuff. It's like the internet wasn't like a thing, but it was a thing. But
yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, you could in today's cultural context come away with a different social commentary than what you had back then.
Yeah,
that's true.
So yeah, seeing it as like a response to maybe some of the things that were happening at the time, rather than. Yeah, I don't know. It was fun to put myself back in in that mindset of what it was like to be a person in that time period. Like watching this movie and being like, this was so radical for the time, Now it's just part of culture, and we just, it's like people use it as a verb almost, like, oh, that person's in the or being matrix, or I don't know, whatever. It's commonplace to use that vernacular, but back then it was like there was no, yeah, like you said, it wasn't common knowledge that people might just be living a simulation.
Like in my science classes for anatomy, I teach about connective tissue in the body, and a common terminology to describe the framework structure of connective tissue is to say the matrix of connective tissue. And anytime I say the matrix, people are like, the matrix, like, wait, are we talking about the movie, or what are we talking about? Like the real world? Like there's a fake world inside of our bodies. It always
like, I'm just trying to teach anatomy here, guys.
Yeah,
I don't get paid enough.
It's not. There's no Neo here. Keanu Reeves is not inside of your cells. It's different. It's like you can't say the word matrix without people thinking about this movie.
Yeah. Unless you're a math nerd, then there's a lot of matrices.
Yeah. Well,
but
I don't understand those things, so.
Yeah. So yeah.
Tell us your list of notes, Paul.
Oh man. So basically, when I watched the movie, to me, it is an inverted Christian story. Is pretty much what it seems like to me. Everything is like upside down, pretty much, from the Christian story, which is kind of interesting. So it's like, so they take the Christian story, which is why I think people see a lot of symbolism and parallels in it, but it's like totally upside down. So like a good instance, well, and if you don't think it's a Christian story, like in the first 5 minutes, the guy that's buying the program from Neo, he comes in and like he wants to buy the program, and Neo gets it for him. He's like, "Oh, thanks, man. You're my savior, my own personal Jesus Christ."
Yeah, he literally says that. It's like super blatant at the beginning. I know. Yeah.
And so,
like now, like when you go back and rewatch that scene, because I remember after studying The Matrix and realizing like the Christology of it, and then going back and swing, and I was like, dude, that is on the nose. That is like in your face. But you don't hear it the first time around,
Yeah, wasn't subtle at all.
No.
But yeah, so then it's like, Neo kind of, he's searching for this, higher being or whatever. What is the Matrix? All this kind of stuff, and then like Morpheus kind of like starts speaking to him and guiding him on the phone, and it's like this disembodied voice that's kind of like guiding him through, like basically the job of the spirit, like when he's getting him out of the office, he's like, okay, wait 3 seconds or whatever, and then keep low and run, so it's like, I mean, obviously we maybe disagree on the spirit a little bit there, but it's like, I don't know, to me that very much like spoke of the spirit's job.
Yeah.
And but yeah, so like the upside down aspects being, the first one that stuck out to me was that Zion is underground instead of on a hill, which is kind of interesting. So it's like inverted there. And then even kind of the role of Neo as the one. So because you have like the returning of Christ, right, in the Last Judgment or whatever. And so like originally in the Matrix, they even touch on it. There's like an original guy who like is free and able to control, like he's outside of the Matrix, and that's like the guy who frees Morpheus. But then he like goes away, and he's like prophesied to return, and so like so Morpheus is now looking for the return of the one, or this like savior figure. But the interesting thing is that like, so Neo is the one, but he comes back and sacrifices and dies and resurrects, and has to like learn, like has to like start his ministry in some sense, so it's like it's like the reverse of the thing. Like the guy who was started out was like complete and whole, and now like he's leaving and coming, like, so Jesus like is born as a child, like Neo's born as a child essentially, from the pit or whatever, the machine factory. And so, but this guy is like, the previous guy was like complete, so it's the opposite of Jesus, where Jesus like started out as a baby, did his ministry, did his sacrifice, then he comes back as a king, as like the person like transcending the world. So like in this instance, it's kind of the opposite of Jesus' story.
Yeah, that is interesting. Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's also interesting in that like Neo has this like power, but he doesn't know that he has that power. And he's kind of like trying to learn how to use his power. Whereas Jesus is different. It's like Jesus has power. He knows he has power, and he's like purposely putting his power down and like walking in weakness. You know, it's like a deliberate decision on his part.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas for Neo, it's like, I'm trying to use my power. Like, I'm trying to defeat evil. I don't know how to do it exactly.
Yeah.
Whereas Jesus is like, dude, if I wanted, I'd just bring angels and like you'd be done, bro.
Yeah.
You know, it's totally different.
Yeah. So there's like a weird inversion there. But then a lot of the movie, I noticed a strong theme of belief in the movie. You know, so here's a question for you. When they download the program, like the Kung Fu program or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
and then he fights Morpheus, it's like, if everybody just downloads the same program, shouldn't they all be equal skill and no
Yeah.
one would win?
Right. That would
Like,
make sense.
like why do you think that's like one person wins and one person like why are some people better than the others when they all have the same program?
Yeah, if it's all based on programming, they should know everybody's moves.
Yeah.
And everybody should have some kind of tie.
Yeah.
So then it's like, is it either additional skills training they learned afterwards? Is it just their own sort of interpretation of those skills?
And Morpheus even says, like when they're in the dojo, he says, this is like an immaterial reality. It's not even based off our muscles or like something to that extent, which is interesting.
Yeah, that's true. Like you can't think with the limitations of your own body because it's not your own body. Mm-hmm. This is like a computer program generation of your body. Mm-hmm. So you literally could make your body do whatever you want. You know, you can make your body move faster than a normal human body could move. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. So they have the same training input, and then they have the same like physical limitations or lack thereof. So it's like, and that's where the belief comes in. So spoiler alert, that's the question is leading towards. That's what he basically says. He's like, whoever believes more essentially is the one that can like outperform the other, which is weird.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's whoever sort of like knows the truth that this isn't reality and can like keep that in mind and allow themselves to like bend reality because they know it's not real. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Or bend the matrix because they know it's not real. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, totally.
Which you see like almost right after that because they go to the Oracle, and then that's when the whole spoon scene of the spoon is not here scene happens. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, he says, the kid even says like, you're not bending the spoon, you're bending yourself. Mm-hmm. And the spoon bends with you, basically. So, yeah, it's like whoever can warp their perspective enough is the one that can like achieve the greater thing, which is a weird. The movie's very subversive. I would not recommend it to people, but well, I don't know.
You wouldn't recommend it? Like you don't want people to watch it?
I think if you're aware of it, like it's fine, but it is very subversive. And so, which is another question I have for you. Why do you think the Wachowskis made this? The Chawaskis.
The Chawaskis, that's right. This is where the word Chawaski comes from. Is me trying to say Wachowski and not being able to, and being like the Chawowskis, whoever those people were.
I think they were the brothers at the time. Now they're the sisters.
Yeah, I don't know what they are anymore. Yeah. The Morpheus humans, the morphing humans. Yeah, why did they make this? From conjecture, because they're crazy people who had a really cool sort of like sci-fi idea, and then decided to take like a kind of crazy person. Religious spin in it.
Yeah. But it's like, why put a religious spin in it? It's like, it's so weird.
I don't know. It definitely makes it more interesting, but I don't know if it makes me, I don't know. Does it make me like it more? I guess it makes me like it more just because I like religious things in general, and I like a lot of like religious symbolism behind things, but I don't know if they have a religious message that I totally agree with.
Sure.
It's like a little bit weird. It's like, okay, you have a Jesus figure, but he's not exactly a Jesus figure. It's like kind of a weird version of a Jesus figure.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's kind of interesting.
Yeah, I know. It's like, was this like I can't tell if it was like, is it spiritual propaganda? Is it like, were they trying to make a message? Was it something that they just like received on a DMT trip and made? Like, like what's the impetus behind this? Was it like a story that they dreamed up? Was it like something that was, I don't know, like a personal story or something, or like influenced by their their childhood? Did they grow up in the church? Like what?
Yeah.
You know.
I mean, I do think that it's a good movie people should watch just because it has really interesting symbolism that makes you think critically about movies and about symbolism.
Mm-hmm.
And I think as long as you're able to think critically, as long as you're able to kind of dissect it and have your own opinions about it, then it's really interesting. And as long as you recognize that, like, maybe the people who made it aren't totally in their right minds. I don't know exactly what's going on with them mentally, emotionally, spiritually, whatever. But I think it's a great exercise in movie analysis and
Mm-hmm.
interesting storytelling.
Yeah. Yeah. It throws a lot of new ideas that hadn't really been talked about or were in the limelight back into the main stage, you know? And so, yeah, I mean, one of the big ideas of the whole movie is kind of overthrowing order or like,
Mm.
you know, basically fighting against control is like a big theme too. And so, it's like, I mean, you get that in a few different ways. I mean, one is Neo saying, he's like, I don't like the idea of someone else controlling my destiny or whatever, or like,
Mm-hmm.
or when she says, "Do you believe in fate?" or whatever, he's like, I don't like the idea of someone. Or maybe the Oracle says that to him that he doesn't like the idea of people controlling him or something. But yeah, so there's this big idea of like fate and stuff, obviously in there,
Mm-hmm.
and there's like the whole rant by Morpheus, saying like, all these different organizations pacify you, like, government, schools, churches, all that kind of stuff. There's obviously that kind of stuff in there.
Mm.
And so, um, yeah, and even at the end when Neo makes the phone call, to the machines, and he's like, "You won't control us. We'll be whatever we want to be." Like,
Mm.
this is your warning, basically, that your control is over, and we're gonna like whatever. But so it is interesting how just given the people who's made it lifestyle and like it's a very much the movie very much promotes, I think, like glamorizes even some of that like underground grunge stuff, and like
Oh yeah, for sure.
and the Zion raves and,
Yeah.
and stuff like
Let's
that.
all go do some crazy rave underground, sweaty wildness.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
So, like the movie definitely promotes, like this idea of, kind of breaking apart of different like structures and bonds and just being like,
Yeah, yeah.
but yeah, so it kind of leads to like a lot of like breakdown of order and stuff, which
Mm-hmm.
it sucks because I don't know if it sucks, but this is like something I'm going to be ranting on for the next probably 5 years.
All right.
Is that like there's two ways. This is something in my notes too, but there's always two ways presented, right? There's like the bad way and the good way. It doesn't matter like, and if you're on the good side of things, it's the other side that's bad, and if you're on this side of things, it's the other side that's bad, and you're good. There's always good and bad, and machine or human, and it's really like I think God's way, especially Christ's way, is always apart from those. Like he doesn't participate in like duality like that.
Mm.
Like I think people like to lump God into that category of like God's good and everything, whatever else is evil. Good, evil. God's on good side. Like God's not on any side. He just is. And like that like false like good evil thing is just like is all evil, I think. And it's just a way and like it's just a self-defeating way outside of God, basically. That like good evil dichotomy. And you kind of see this like because I was thinking like with the machines and the humans, it's like Neo goes into the Matrix and like just kills a bunch of people.
Mm-hmm.
Like he just shoots up a bank or whatever with just like a bunch of random security guards,
Mm-hmm.
and those people are dying,
Mm-hmm.
or just like I don't know, blowing up buildings or whatever. And it's like he's kind of saving people, but kind of not. Like he's very like a lot of nepotism. He just saves his
It's
friends.
honestly, it's a good point because if he truly was trying to save humanity, it's like, you're just killing innocent people right now, but those people are standing in your way, so it's like, I guess you have to kill them. I don't know.
Yeah. You just like mow them down to get to your friend, Like,
Yeah.
I mean, it makes for a good action scene,
Yeah.
but I don't know if it makes for good morals.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
So, but I think about the ultimate thing of that, where it was like, you think about the time in history when it was the most like probably divided it's ever been. You think about Romans and Jews, and it's like, here you have the ultimate like pagan empire. It's like conquering, just completely debauchery. Then you have like the most pious Jews of all time, the Pharisees, and they're just like to the letter of the law. They won't like eat with Romans. They would barely even look at Romans. They're like hardcore as hardcore. And along comes Jesus, and he's just like, they're both going their way, and he's just like, whoop, like, and he's like barely even concerned with either of them. It's like he's here to spread his kingdom. It's like it looks nothing like the Roman kingdom. It looks nothing like the Jewish kingdom. It's his own kingdom. He's like, yeah, pay taxes to Caesar. Like he also, respects the law, the Torah, all that kind of stuff. He's like, keeping the customs of the Jews growing up, But then at the same time, he's also expanding way past those two systems into something that's like completely revolutionary. Well, revolutionary is the wrong word. Completely whole is a better way of saying it. So, yeah, anytime you get like a revolution, counter revolution type thing going on, I think that just leads to more bad stuff. Whereas like the true way is to transcend these bickering systems and find and go a better way, and inspire people to come along with you.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Hmm.
You have any thoughts in the interim?
Taking Zion with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who do you think the Oracle was?
Who do I think the Oracle was, aside from the lady smoking cigarettes and making cookies?
Yeah. Or like, do you think she represents anything? Or like,
symbolically, who is she? Yeah. I don't know. It's really interesting, the Oracle, because she made these kind of true statements. So it's like, okay, she knows what's going to happen. But then,
don't worry about the vase. He's like, what vase?
Yeah, so it's like she obviously knows, how the future is going to play out, and she's kind of playing her cards along with it. But then wasn't she also like a program herself? So it's like, I think she was, I don't know, it's like I almost wonder if she was some kind of like devil character or something symbolically, because she's kind of working for the other side, but she's almost the assigned person working for the robots to like help the humans in some weird way.
I think they like kind of established that there's like free programs.
Yeah.
In the second and third one.
Okay. Yeah, actually, no, you're right. They did establish that, actually. Yeah, there were. That's right. There were some programs that could like make their own choice of what they wanted to do. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So yeah, maybe I guess she was some free program who.
But how does she know what Neo's gonna do? He's a human.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
Isn't that weird?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
she's a trippy one.
And
the funny thing, he's like, well, why did you tell me? Or like something about like, he's like, I don't know. How did you know I'd break the lamp? She's like, well, would it really blow your noodle or something like that, or bake your noodle?
Yeah.
If I, what if I hadn't told you were going to break it? Would you still have done it?
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah. It's like, whoa, dude, that's a deep thought.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just telling somebody, don't do this thing is going to make them do that thing. But if you hadn't have told them don't do that thing, they wouldn't have done the thing. Yeah. Don't steal from the cookie jar. Okay. Now they're going to steal from the cookie jar. But if you just were like, see you later, they wouldn't have done it.
Yeah, you put the thought in their head.
Yeah.
Started something in motion.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, the determinism of that is quite interesting. And but yeah. One note is they did a really good job in the movie of making all the people like walking around in the world look like real NPCs.
Real NPCs. That's right. They were NPCs, right?
I mean, they're real people.
They're real people, but yeah. In the context of like the movie, they're just people basically like doing their own thing,
Yeah.
totally outside the character arc or whatever of the real
Yeah.
people.
I don't know how they
Yeah.
did. Like, you could watch like any other movie, and if you saw like a scene of a crowd, there would be like a dynamicism to it, or like some sort of, I don't know. You just like even watch like footage of like a street in New York or something, like an intersection, and it's like
Yeah.
you can just tell those people like are at least a little bit alive.
Yeah.
Like in this movie, like the crowds somehow just look completely lifeless.
Yeah.
I don't know if they like,
just droll.
yeah. I don't know if they like had them dress in bland colors, or like coached everyone not to have emotion or something. But they did like a really good job. Like all the security guards just look like just the most generic people you've ever seen.
Yeah.
Like,
It's true.
yeah.
It's true. Yeah. They definitely made people look bland if they're in the Matrix.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I wonder if that was like a directorial choice or not. But
Yeah. And it also makes you wonder, because it feels like if you're in the Matrix, you're a sheep. You know, you're mindless. You're a drone. You're just existing. And I think that that's an interesting aspect to the movie, because I think a lot of times people feel like they're just sort of a drone in their life. I wake up, I go to work, I, eat pizza, I watch this TV show, I go to bed. What's the purpose of my life? What am I doing? I just do the same things. And to watch a movie like The Matrix, it's like, yeah, dude, like I need to wake up. I need to like get out of the routine and like do something crazy. Like I need to remind myself that I'm alive,
yeah.
Listen to heavy metal.
Drink
apple
shot-
cider
yeah.
vinegar. Take a cold shower.
Yeah.
But I think that happens when you lose sight of what's your purpose in life. Why do you exist? And then you start getting lost spiritually, and you kind of ask those existential questions, and you feel depressed. And
Neo.
then you become Neo, right? And so I think that it's very relevant for a lot of people in that sense. People latch on to that meaning,
Yeah,
So
I'd say so.
So yeah, it's like I feel like they captured sort of that wandering lost sheepness in the NPC, the background people.
Yeah, I mean that's one of Morpheus's line too. It's like, basically that, you've gone your whole life knowing something wasn't quite right, that something's missing, and you can't put your finger on it, but it's the Matrix basically.
Mm-hmm.
And so I do appreciate that message. That kind of like probe a little bit further into your established routines and systems, and like check and make sure that they're like as real or function or serving. I don't, maybe those are wrong words, but like, yeah, basically just question things and make sure that like you're not being just a blind follower of things.
Yeah, it kind of makes me think of a lot of maybe evangelical messaging from the 90s, where a lot of times I would hear kind of, like Billy Graham sermons or other things, where the altar call was very much this, like, you need God in your heart. You have this emptiness inside of you, and you like know that you're lost in your life. And if only you could just say yes to Jesus, like you would be found, and you could like know him as your Lord.
Simpler time back then,
and it was very much just like there's emptiness inside of you, and you know what it is, and like you need to do this thing.
That's true.
And I feel that there's a bit of that type of messaging, like something's wrong, like it's the Matrix. Just come to the Matrix. It will save you.
It's a whole lie.
Come to the real world.
Yeah, it would be. I'm very curious if people are going to remake the Matrix, like, I don't know, just in our modern time, because one of the interesting aspects of it was the whole battery thing. Like, it's totally like scientifically
incorrect.
Crap.
Like that doesn't work.
Yeah. So what I heard, and I don't know if this is true, but I heard it, so it's probably true. It was a rumor, so it's got to be. But originally the script was going to be that, because there's a few mentions of like AI, but it's like it's not really like prevalent, like that language as it is now. But the original idea was that like the people were going to be used for like compute power, and so that they were going to like hook up their brains and use them to kind of like run the Matrix.
Oh yeah,
and like use them for
that's
like
interesting
machine learning, basically.
Yeah, because your brain is a very powerful computer.
Yeah, it's super efficient.
Right.
So, like, but then apparently that was like too complicated for the script, and they thought like people wouldn't get it, so they changed it to battery to like kind of dumb it down a little bit.
I do feel like you could use the computer power analogy in today's generation. And people would work with
Exactly.
that. Yeah, people would totally go for that.
Like, oh yeah, it's a neural network. And it's like,
It's
whereas
like,
before, like,
duh.
who knew the word neural network?
Yeah, that's interesting.
So yeah, that was kind of like one change that got made.
Yeah,
Apparently.
you could definitely play with AI a lot more today too.
Yeah.
Yeah, anything about AI taking over the world and destroying everyone definitely works today.
It doesn't though. That's the thing. Like now, all the AI movies are positive about. I watched a YouTube.
They are?
I think so.
Oh, I always feel like AI is always portrayed as a villain.
It has been.
It has been? Oh, but that's changing.
That's yeah. I watched.
Oh, really?
I watched an interesting movie called like, or a video on YouTube. But yeah,
Who's making those movies? Is Elon Musk the executive producer?
Disney mostly.
Disney? Oh, okay.
But yeah, he was kind of like laying out all the movies, you know, broaching the topic of AI and like graphing them, whether they were positive or negative towards AI.
That's interesting.
And it's like you can see a really strong trend in like the late 2000 or like 2010 onward, where things started to shift from like there's less like Terminator type movies and more like you know Wall-E's and you know all these like little friendly robots that are like you know sentient beings that are all like our friends. And
well, I mean, in Wall-E, it was about the robots breaking out of their programming and being more like humans versus the AI robot that was like must follow the protocol.
Yeah.
And then that was like the villain was the one that couldn't have like human characteristics.
Well, that was like
which is interesting.
That was kind of the transition, but now there's like so that was like 2012.
Yeah.
Like that was still transitioning over, but like now, I mean, there's a movie that just came out where it's like the humans are bad and all these like cybernetic people are good, you know, and it's like
wow,
it's definitely switching over.
Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah, and like people are like in that movie, humans can like donate their likeness to a robot to like let it use a human face and like all this weird stuff. But yeah, so that was I don't know, I got off on that tangent. But also the editing on the movie was insane. Like whoever edited it did a really good job.
Yeah.
Like and soundtrack actually too. But yeah, I think it's like editing is one of those things that people don't really notice. I think it's like not consciously at least.
Yeah, if it's good, you don't notice it.
Yeah, but there was like a lot of like little things I noticed where like I don't know, they would have like a sound kind of playing from the next scene before the scene started, and then it would like flip the scene when the sound like got to its crescendo or whatever, to like kind of build tension. A lot of the shots were like edited in such a way that like kind of built momentum into the scenes, like they're back and forth and stuff. I mean, obviously the special effects were revolutionary, all that kind of stuff, but it's gonna be hard. It's hard to talk about the editing stuff without showing like having a visual example.
Yeah, it's true.
But yeah, and then obviously at the end of the movie, Neo entering the agent and destroying him from within.
Yeah,
Jesus going into hell, harrowing hell from within. There's some symbolism there for you.
I almost thought it was like Jesus going inside of the individual person and like killing the sin or the evil inside of them or something like that. But yeah, I could see it as him like going into hell.
Yeah,
I could see that.
I mean, it is when he dies, so
yeah,
like to me that makes sense.
Yeah, for sure.
A quote I liked: "There's a difference between knowing the path and walking the path."
Ooh. Yeah.
But yeah, I
think it's time for us to buy some leather. That's what I think it's time for. I think this show should be sponsored by a leather fashion design.
Like my dad?
Yeah. Yeah, if anybody knows how to make leather trench coats.
Yeah, commissions are open from my father.
Yeah, that's right.
He made me a belt that was super sick. So
oh, yeah?
I was like, do you want any money? He's like, nah, just shout me out or something. Or like, pass some commissions along. So this is my opportunity.
Leather belt of the spirit.
Sure.
Leather belt of discipline. Leather belt of the Matrix.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, you can. Yeah, leather's cool.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's super heavy, but
yeah.
whatever.
Look, they had to wear leather because, there's no animals to make leather from in the real world, so you had to enjoy the
Finer
leather.
things of life.
Yeah, the finer thing. It's like, I mean, it's like what the one guy said. He's like, "Is this even what steak tastes like? Like, who even knows? I've never had a steak before. This is just what my
The chicken guy.
yeah." He's
Yeah.
like, maybe this tastes like chicken or whatever. It's like you don't know what that tastes like.
He's like, yeah, the machines didn't
like,
know. Maybe the machines didn't know what tasty wheat tasted
maybe
like.
maybe it got wrong.
Yeah.
The wheat or oatmeal or whatever. Or, it's like who knows?
Maybe tasty wheat actually tasted like oatmeal.
Yeah. Maybe leather feels different.
Yeah.
They got it wrong. They wouldn't know. There were no animals.
Right. Yeah. But yeah, so I think that's everything on my list.
Cool, man.
Yeah.
That's cool.
I guess, yeah. Oh, I will ask you one last question.
Okay.
So going back to the idea of belief, I don't know a good way to ask this, but do you feel like, so it's kind of a two-parter. Do you feel like belief precedes ability? And also, do you think that you can just like believe harder in something? Does that make sense? Like, or just believe more through force of will? Like those are kind of tied together. But.
So yeah, I mean, I think the answer is both. But hold on, let's clarify the question here. And I've seen this. I see this played out in a lot of different things. Athletics or skills or different things that have to do with confidence, believing in yourself. There's the idea of, if I believe that I can achieve this thing, then do I need the belief in order to accomplish the task, or will I not have the belief in the task or whatever until I accomplish it, and then I'll believe in myself, or
some assurance, or some sign that you can do it.
Yeah, like you can throw a 100-mile-an-hour fastball if you believe you can. And it's like, well, if I just have enough belief, then I'll be able to do it. Or is it the other way around? If I do it, then obviously I believe that I can. I believe in myself now that I can throw fastball because I did it. Wow, that's crazy.
Or you said, like, I've trained for 6 months and I'm in the best shape of my life. I could probably throw a 100-mile fastball.
Right.
I believe I could do that.
I believe I could do that, yeah.
Because you've trained.
Yeah. So it's like in Neo's circumstance, I think he had more of a, you have to believe and then you're going to be able to do these things. There was a lot of stuff he was trying to figure out and it didn't make sense. And so it was kind of this like belief first leap of faith,
But he couldn't do it.
He couldn't do it.
Yeah.
So it's like he had to figure out how to believe, which I don't think he figured out how to do until he made out with Trinity. So I think that's the secret right there. You know?
I mean, there is symbolism in that for sure,
Yeah.
of like kind of a woman supporting a man, but yeah.
Yeah.
Makes him come alive.
Apparently there's a change of chemistry that's happening right there. So
yeah.
I guess he believed in himself. That's all I needed.
A change of circulation.
That's how Hollywood works.
Yeah.
No, I think that it's both when it comes to a lot of circumstances in life, practically. But I think in the Matrix, aside from his example, I do still think that it's both. You have to take action even if you don't necessarily have the belief that it's going to work out. And I think that you have to have the belief it's going to work. And, even if your actions aren't quite there yet, I think it has to kind of go both ways with that. When it comes to like what Neo was doing as well. So.
Yes, but like, because I think at some point, like, he didn't even believe he was the one,
Right.
And he still did it. Like, he performed the action.
Right.
That was like, that led him to like, put him in the place to believe,
Yeah.
And so, yeah. So to me, it's like action kind of precedes belief in a lot of cases.
Yeah,
or
like
experience.
Like it was like the one was supposed to be somebody who could save Morpheus and like do all these things, and Morpheus sacrificed himself because he thought that Neo was the one.
Mm-hmm.
So then when Neo realized, wait, I'm not the one. The Oracle told me I'm not the one. Now I have to save Neo because he sacrificed himself for a nobody, but it's like the very act of doing that and saving Neo proved that you were the one.
Yeah.
And so now, because you did that, because you took those actions, now you like believe because you did that stuff.
Yeah, but he didn't have the belief, but he was able to still do it.
Yeah.
Like, and then that's what gave him the belief, was doing it.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, because even when he fights like Smith or whatever, you know, he doesn't. I forget what like changes his. At first, he's like running from Smith, and then when he's in the subway, like he stops and turns to like fight him, but I forget like why.
Yeah, he was gonna run, and then he turned around and was like, "No," and he's gonna fight him.
There was like a pivotal thing for that, but
I don't know why. Yeah, because I think Morpheus got out, Trinity got out.
yeah,
The ear thing blew up. He shot the head or the phone, right? The Mr. Smith shot the phone, and then they're looking at the code on the screen. They're like, "Run, Neo, run!" And he like turns, and he's like, "No, wait!" And he like turns back.
He says he's starting to believe.
Yeah, that's right. So I think it's just that he realized like no one's ever been able to fight an agent before, but if I'm the one, like I can do this.
Yeah. And,
Yeah.
well, oh no, because he saved Morpheus. Maybe that's what it was.
Yeah, so maybe it
Like-
means that like if I could save Morpheus, then maybe I could like fight this guy.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's what it was. Because he
Yeah.
thought it was like Tank told him it was a suicide mission to go like basically try to save Morpheus,
Right.
and so he did it. He's like, yeah. So it's like again the belief follows the action.
Yeah, the action happened first, and then he believed in himself.
Yeah.
Whereas I think earlier, because I'm thinking also earlier in the movie when
They're doing the jump.
when they're doing the jump, and it's like he couldn't do it, you know, but he had been told you're the one. So it's like at that, like up until the Oracle, he believed, or he was like told he was the one and was kind of skeptical about it. So it's like maybe he didn't totally believe, but it's like he kind of thought like, I guess I'm the one. I don't know.
Yeah.
Then the Oracle happens. He doesn't think he's the one. Then he saves Morpheus and he's like back on track with thinking he's the one again.
Yeah. Yeah, because the jump, and that's where it's like interesting because it's like they just tell him to believe, and like he even mostly thinks he's the one at that point, like 'cause that's right before the Oracle.
Right.
So like he's like at the peak of thinking he's the one that he's going to before all this goes down, and you know they're like he's beat Morpheus in the kung fu gym or whatever, and like so he thinks he's like hot stuff, and like Cypher's trying to like whisper in his ear.
Yeah.
If there's a devil character, that's
him.
right.
That's definitely the Judas. That's the Judas of the movie. Seriously.
Yeah, so it's like subverting everything.
Yeah.
But but yeah, so it's like, he even believes. He just like runs and jumps off a building. Like so he does believe like as much as he can at that point. But he has nothing to back it up, So it's like until he like kind of just abandons all like the prophecy stuff and just goes out and tries to make change in the world. And then he's able to like do something, then he believes for real, then he can stop bullets, So
Yeah.
I don't know. I thought that was just like an interesting thing because the main reason I was like stuck on this idea was because, I think like in church a lot of times people just like say have more faith or, it's like, for healing or whatever it is, people are like, just believe more, just, it's, you just really need to buckle down and dive in and believe and love and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And it's like trying to tell somebody to, I don't know, like if you don't have the experience in your life, the revelation, whatever, it's like you really can't get to that point where you can just like believe more. It's like you're capped out on your consciousness, your level of maturity. I don't know, whatever limits you.
Yeah.
But you're kind of capped out on what you can do until you have some more life experience or something.
I think, and when you say life experience, I think it's when God tests you and takes you through the wilderness or something,
Sure.
Like when you have a trial in life and you come out the other side of it and you're still like, okay, I still believe in God. God is good. Then I think you realize, okay, like
that's like a level up.
I can handle this. Like I know what I'm capable of now. Like I can still have faith in God and believe in him, even though I really like hated this situation or whatever.
Yeah.
So I think that when God tests you or when something tough happens in life, I feel like that's almost for your sake. so that you know where you're at. It's like God doesn't need to test you like, he got a D on his quiz.
How much does he believe in me?
Like, I'm not feeling good about this guy. It's like God knows your heart. He knows where you're at.
Yeah.
You don't know where you're at.
Yeah.
You know? So you need to have the testing so that you can be like, dude, I can follow God through this darkness. So like I'm not afraid of the darkness as much anymore.
Yeah.
Like,
levels up your belief.
Yeah.
In yourself and God and nature and all that kind of stuff, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, that was. So yeah, I think just telling people to believe something more is not necessarily the antidote. You need to.
You need to take action.
Yeah.
Like subscribing to our channel. That'll always increase your faith. Subscribe and like this video. That'll bring your belief up to the next level.
That's why we have Brandon here.
If you don't believe now, subscribing will make you believe.
That's, dude. Yeah, if it was just me running this channel, I'd never promote the channel. So it's a good thing you're here.
Honestly, it's just so funny. There's something about promoting the channel that just like makes me laugh. So
all the tie-ins.
Yeah.
Okay.
I love the shameless plugs. I love shameless plugging.
That's funny.
It's really.
Well, you're creative with them, so if anyone can find a good transition, it's you.
If I could just pull it way out of left field, makes me happy.
All right, you're our chief marketer now. It's your job from now on to fit one subscribe into every episode minimum.
That's right.
Like Neo subscribed to the Matrix. Whatever, I don't know. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Or Cypher.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's
there's the Matrix.
Thoughts.
Yep. There you have it.
Thanks for joining us on this one.
That's right. Thanks for watching.
Unplug yourselves.
That's right. Unplug. Now unplug the computer. Rage quit.